Hello everyone and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last time we built a semi-functional helicopter. We built one and then everything broke and then tried to fix it, messed around, but in the end got sort of there, and then an eclipse killed us. I can't look up at the sky here. If I fly around a piece of debris, I can probably look up and see the eclipse that murdered us. Yep, there we go. Perfect. Moon eclipsing the sun killed our solar power, and so these random sections are what's left of our once great helicopter. So the first thing I'm going to do is fast forward to the next day. No more random problems like that. I'm just going to make some final changes to the ship, putting on docking ports in case I need those. I've already got these fuel gizmos. Okay, I've got a ladder that should reach down to the ground. I will test how well that works. Okay, so we can extend the solar panels. I need to set it to actually deploy the rotor blades by default. There we go, they are all working. Put them in neutral position and SAS on. Okay, now one of the blades is not functioning. The auto strut seemed to be interfering with it. Oh, very quickly lifts off though. It's not the most stable thing, but it's not too bad. Does need continuous inputs to keep it steady. I think it's a bit top heavy as part of the problem. Starting to lose control. I took my hands off the controls to try and mess with something, and it's all gone a little wonky, but sort of seem to be recovering. And it seems that higher altitude we go, the higher the deploy angle I need to get optimal vertical lift, which I think makes sense. Higher we go, the less air there is, so the more angle you want to be moving the same amount of air down. RPM is pretty fixed. Oh crap, this has Chaffdell in it. Chaffdell's not supposed to be in this. This was supposed to be unmanned. Just topped 10 kilometers here, we're still going strong. I think this section is definitely a success. I don't know how high we'll be able to get this in Eve. Eve has a lot higher gravity, but a lot denser air, so hopefully those two things will kind of cancel out and let us get a decent altitude in Eve. So I guess now it's time to test part 2. Sorry Chaffdell, you're coming along for the ride whether you like it or not. So part 1 is deployment of that section. Okay, this is actually holding pretty stable just with the top bit, that's good to know. But then we pitch up. And decouple and burn. Decouple went well. The controllability is good. Electric charge is still holding despite me making maneuvers. Okay, let's stage out. Going on to final stage. Final stage ignition. And successfully in orbit. 1000 delta V still to go. That's not really saying much. Got completely different orbital requirements between Kerbin and Eve, but this is a helicopter we used to get into orbit nice and cleanly. Now, instead of just leaving Chaffdell out here in orbit, I am going to try and bring him home. I don't know how well this is going to work. My kind of thinking is I will try to do a fueled return aero braking to lose most of my delta V. I've got a lot of delta V left, so I might be able to manage a retro burn landing. If it doesn't look like I will, then I will just EVA with Chaffdell here. He has a parachute. Oh, good. I just want to quickly double check he could actually get out with the ladder like that. He can, that's fine. Again, let's get heating effects as we're passing over KFC. Solar panels will break. That's fine. Fuel pipes will probably also break. It's also fine. Maybe the solar panels won't break. Liquid fuel tank's beginning to heat up now. It's a little bit more of a problem, but looks like we're just about to exit heating effect anyway. Even with our little weedy engine on this one, we still have plenty of thrust-to-weight ratios, so that's not going to be an issue. And for safety, I'm going to add a couple of parachutes to this before the full launch, just so that we can actually abort the Eve launch if we need to. And things I wouldn't bother with on a normal playthrough, but in Ironman mode, we only get one shot at things. We might be coming in a bit fast here. I did not start slowing down soon enough. Oh shit, this is my bad. That is 100% my bad. I needed to start the braking sooner. Lovely. Okay, rip Chaffdal. Okay, in Chaffdal's honour, we're going to stick... In Chaffdal's honour, we're going to stick parachutes on this damn thing. Now, the final bit of testing I want to do before we try and send this thing all the way to Eve is I want to see if the refueling mechanisms are actually going to function. So, testing this part, I am going to get this one just off the runway so that I can spawn in another. Okay, that's landed just off to the side. Now I'm going to grab another, stick an unlucky engineer in it, and we're going to see if we can climb down, up and down from the capsule, and I'm going to try and link these two together. And for that we're going to need another engineer, because I don't want to send Jane on what is probably going to be a suicide mission. So let's grab Gamuki here. Okay, so part 1, extending out the ladder. Making sure that doesn't break anything. All hatches are obstructed. Okay, the helicopter blades are just in the way. That is fine. Okay, bit of a sharp fall, but she's alright. See if I can get her back into the capsule. No, I think I need to angle the other ladder a little bit better. Okay, had some weirdness there, but that functioned-ish. Importantly, can we get back up? Yes, takes some wiggling, but we can get back up, and we can reboard. Excellent. Oh, bollocks. Note self, make sure rotors are in the neutral position before turning them on. Yeah, I'll just use this as some landing practice then, I guess. Right, there we go. And this does function as a rover, so I can maneuver it close to the other thing. Okay, now this is the part I'm interested in. Can I use a fuel thing to connect two spaceships? No. That does complicate things slightly, but not impossibly. So I need to make sure they're two spaceships. So I could use docking. Docking might be quite hard, but not impossible. I just have to place the docking module on the other ship quite accurately. Or I can make the two one ship with a grabbing unit, I believe. Yeah, so I've made a couple of adjustments. Let's just see how this works. First thing, can we still get up and down? Not the correct thing to grab. Okay, still some funkiness there, but gets her to the ground, kinda. And she can use it to get back onto the ship and get back into the ship. Great. Okay, I added a resource unit and a miner on this little thing. Mostly just to balance out the weight a little bit. I have to add some weight to counteract the grabber on the front. But also gives us a few more options to play around with. Actually seems to have really helped stability, because now it's got some more weight on the bottom. So we're just a little more centered. Okay, so the basic idea is I arm the grabber as I approach our pretend unit here. This is going to be the actual rocket when we get there. That has worked. These two are connected now. There we go, move those out the way. Yeah, there we go. Can link the two up. Link two-way fuel system so can transfer back and forth. And just proof of concept. Start drilling. Get some amount of ore. Oh, it's automatically done it, so this is definitely working because this drill is inputting it into this fuel unit. Okay. That is looking promising. I think this is going to be our Eve lander, or one of these. Okay, so if this is our lander, we now need to work on getting this bloody thing to Eve. So, first thing we're going to do is switch over onto the vertical building. Yeah, and actually since this has mining equipment already attached, it doesn't need its fuel on the descent stage. It's going to save a fair bit of weight there. Okay, and so clocking in at 350,000. This is the Heinlein fully assembled. So I've got dual air brake inflatable heat shields like we had before on either end of this. The whole helicopter segment is contained within a payload fairing. I've played around with the engine plates for the first time, so I've got 6 nuclear engines all built in line. Then we've got a really big ass main stage launcher, complete with Clydesdales, to help us get there. 7,500 Delta V, I should say, should be enough to get us there. We will find out, I suppose. And yes, the Heinlein stands for Helicopter-Based Emergency Interdiction Nuclear Launcher, and then Eve is nasty. Cheaper than sending another Hesvius, just by a bit, but hopefully a little more successful than the Hesvius. We will find out. Okay, SAS on, thruster 100, and let's go. Good liftoff. Okay, backstage burnout, so decouple, good separation. Helicopter blades are being a bit weird. Okay, I think I needed to lock the helicopter blades beforehand. We'll try and fix that ahead of actually re-entering or entering Eve. Okay, that stage has burnt out. We are pretty much in orbit. Decouple that. Ignite the nuclear engines. Just going to skim the top of the atmosphere ever so slightly. There we go. We're back out in space, so I can decouple the fairing. There's some fiddling. I've hopefully aligned the blades as best I can. We'll just have to see if the blades survive. So I really need these brakes on before launch. Something I needed to remember. Because the problem is that without the brakes on, as the craft turns, these are kind of free rotating, so they try to keep their original orientation. And that made one big mess there. While I've been fast forwarding, we've got the mission for extracting ore from Gilly. got a 2-minute burn here since I am using nuclear engines. Yeah, so I messed up the transfer a little bit, so we're wasting about an extra 1000 delta V just to correct that. I could have got it, but it's going to take 9 years, and I can't remember how long all the various contracts are, so this will hopefully be okay. There we go, so I've got enough fuel to put us into a nice circular orbit. Now it's just going to be a case of waiting for the time where our orbit overlays with the hemispheres. And we need to land on the correct hemispheres because we have part 3 on the planet so far. Here we are at Eve doing our braking burn. So far so good, should still have over 1000 delta V to go, which will let us bleed off some extra energy, hopefully make the landing even easier. Yeah, got it. More or less circular. Yeah, and just double checking, it is the most equatorial. Hesphius is the one we're aiming for, the northernmost one. Just going to more completely circularize. There we go, just over 100 on both ones. Okay, well, let's see if this works. This is going to put me on a rather sharp descent, but the idea is this should let me control where I'm landing a little bit better. Also bleeds off a little bit more of the delta V, so there's less to lose. We'll just have to see if this works out. I'm about to re-enter, so retract the solar panels. Jettison that stage. Inflate this heat shield. Okay, electric charge is still holding. Hopefully our blades are protected with their weird angle that they've ended up with. Okay, that's the other stage burning up. Okay, our Kerbal lost consciousness. That is fine. And it's back up again. Okay, we can jettison the heat shields. Okay, the heat shields took a rover wheel and the processing lab with them. That's going to be a bit of a problem. I should have put some kind of jet on those. Okay, we should be slow enough that we can deploy our solar panels again. That is restoring our power. Well, the problem now is the center of gravity is really off because of those collisions. So this is getting quite difficult, quite unstable. Oh shit, the solar panels just broke. Shit. We are now in a big bit of trouble. So everything was going fine until the heat shields impacted with the craft. And then that's really screwed us up here. I think engineers can repair damaged components, so if I can land this, I might be able to fix the solar panels. So at this point I'm just kind of doing the Kerbal physics version of auto-rotating down. I maybe should have just kept the chutes on, the heat shields on until landing, because they would have helped slow the craft down. Would have actually acted as a landing brake when they hit the surface. And then I can probably detach them a little bit more safely when we're actually on the surface. Okay, 3 kilometers from impact. Gonna see if I can stabilize this. The answer is yes, but I'm not going to manage to hold this for 3 kilometers. Okay, power back off. Go 1 kilometer from the surface, power back on. So hoping to have several kilometers to practice flying this thing on Eve. Guess 1 kilometer is going to have to do. And touchdown. Shite. Okay, so we're kind of sorted down. And now it's just going to be a case of if we can repair this bloody thing to the point that we can get the 27 kilometers that way to transfer the resources, and then also take the resources from that, since this has now lost its refueling bay. Okay, not the best landing, not the worst landing. Learned some things, and landed yet another Kerbal on Eve. Okay, so a couple of problems. One is that my engineer is too low level to affect these repairs. The other is I didn't bring any repair kits with me. Okay, so this is very unlikely to be able to get anywhere. I'm going to see if I can make this travel the 30 odd kilometers to the Hesphius to see if we can salvage this. Oh, I have no idea what happened there. What? I do not know why that just decoupled. By the way, it looks like we have another rescue on hands. They're still salvageable-ish. We can send another one of these down here to pick up Gamuki, take Gamuki over there. Learned a couple of things from this design. We need to lock the brakes before launch so that these don't spin. Need to make sure we're really careful with the solar panels and really careful with the decoupling. I'll also take another look at the decoupling, see if there's any way that I can make that a little bit better to clear the way for the actual propeller stage. So yeah, that could have been better, that could have been worse. We'll just have to try again. I hope you join me for that. If you enjoyed this, please do like, comment, subscribe. All really does help the channel, and otherwise I hope to catch you in the next episode. Until then, remember to be kind to yourself and everyone else. Cheers.